What's up, people? So I just watched Bloomberg interview with Trump. Man, people don't understand why a lot of black men are leaning towards Trump, and they're like, "Oh, well, oh, it's because you hate women and all this." I coming from that interview, I feel like I learned something. I feel like I understood what's been happening politically. In fact, it's not even necessarily that I understood. I got confirmation because personally, I come from a country where corruption is very visible. You see it all the time. It's like everyone knows that is there. We're not ignorant to the fact of corruption, but in America, they're very good at hiding it. But it's still there, and Trump went into all of it. Um, Talked about the money aspect, talked about the tariffs, talked about how many businesses that were saved through the tariffs. A lot of small businesses as well. People think it's only just the rich people, but he literally talked about a story of someone who basically built cabinets, and they were having to compete with places like China, where they'll basically give people and sell people products for much less quality, but it's still like relatively okay. But they'll sell it for much less, and he can't compete. So the tariffs were able to save him a lot of money. Not a lot of money, but save him a lot of, yeah, I would say a lot of money. Um, because he wasn't having to compete with all these people because they had to deal with the tariffs, which incentivized them not to bring their products, their much less quality products, into the U.S. So he was able to thrive through that as someone who is based in the U.S. So like you have all these stories of like people actually being benefited, and then you listen to Kamala and she's telling you about how she has someone that ran a small business, therefore she understands small businesses. Ma'am, if you can't come out and say, hey, this is a business that I helped, I don't believe you. I'm sorry. Words mean nothing to me. I was just talking with one of the men that I absolutely respect very very highly, um, and I was I was essentially telling him of just stories of personal stories and stuff like that. But even like my faith, I would not be Christian if I just listened to what I was told. Right. So at a most basic level, like within my core, I don't listen to words. I look at actions. So growing up in a Christian family and growing up in a church, you see all these people that are going to church and they're telling you God this and God that, but then you look at their life and it's completely different. It's completely different. So you go to the club, you go to parties, you stay up all late, you drink, you smoke, you do all this wild shit. Pardon my French. Um, and then you come to church on Sunday and you lift, holy hands, and you come to me, someone that sees you do all of this stuff, and you're like, why aren't you, more committed to the things of God? Sir, ma'am, you're not committed. Why are you trying to get me to do something that you're not willing to do? Why are you trying to force me to do something that you seem to lack the ability or the desire to do yourself? So words mean nothing to me. So when you come and you talk about, oh, you're bringing back joy and optimism, that means nothing to me. I'm sorry. I know people that are suffering. I know people that tell me all the time, "Hey, Julius, can you help me find a job because I went to college for this thing and now I'm unable to get a job and all this stuff." I know people who are in IT and are unable to get a job. It's IT. Like the job should be plentiful. But then you also hear about, these companies are going overseas and they're going to places like Mexico and China because our politicians are incentivizing them to do that while we're losing jobs. People are becoming unemployed. People are complaining about the economy. And you're telling me you're going to bring joy? Joy. Really. At the most basic level, one of the things that makes me decide who I stand with, who I support, everything of this sort, it's whether or not they can come to me on an intellectual level, um, give me information, and let me decide for myself. I I I I wouldn't call myself like the smartest person in the world, but at a most basic, I like to get understanding in everything. This is probably one of the reasons why I try to learn Korean and I couldn't really dive into it, because for me, I need to know everything about why I'm using this specific word versus this other word and everything. That's just the way I am. And I recall when I first came to this country, I failed a math test, um, because although I got the correct answers, I didn't use the correct formulas for the questions that they wanted me to use the correct formulas for. Now I showed my work, did all of that. And this is my problem with America, generally speaking. People don't want you to, just kind of find your way and find your path. And you give me all these tools and you tell me, okay, so, find a way to be successful. And then I become successful and I answer the problem and I handle it. And you tell me, well, you didn't do it this way. So why give me all these tools? Why are there so many different ways to become rich, but when someone does it a different way, you complain? Why is it that when billionaires and billion-dollar companies and trillion-dollar companies are supporting the Democrats, no one complains, but when it's the other way around, it's like, oh, well, Trump and his rich friends. Do you know how many of these companies are aligned with the Democratic Party? Do you know how many of these companies are funding the Democratic Party? All these companies that y'all are complaining about, they're being benefited by the Democratic Party. But no one really talks about it. No one really cares, because, the rich people are. I don't look at rich people as an enemy. For me, I just want people to stay out of my way. I want to be able to achieve on my own everything that I want to be able to achieve. I don't want to hand out. I don't want you to tell me, oh, you're going to take from someone else to give to me. I don't believe in that. Because if that's the case, then what if I get to that point? Let's say tomorrow I become rich. Now you're going to start taking money from me? And what people don't understand is when it comes to things, for example, like taxes. All right. My view on taxes is you're supposed to take this money and you're supposed to do things that benefits everyone. All right. Because what should happen, and this is something I just recently had a conversation with my mom about, the 10% tithes that the church takes is literally supposed to be there to help people, to help the poor, to help the church be able to do these things to help people. The idea is if you're making all this money, you should at least help the people around you. So, your roads are clean, your roads are good, your area is good, the community is good, everyone is benefiting, because no one wants to live in a place where it's just dirty all around them. All right, that's just like a basic level of understanding. But they're not doing any of that with the tax dollars. You look at like a city like Philadelphia, like the roads are still shit. Like everyone knows to expect potholes all the time everywhere. What are they doing with the money? And you look at the federal level, they're taking taxpayer dollars and they're funding wars and funding all these different things. And then people will tell me, oh well, we have to because we have to be diplomatic. But at the same time, criticize Trump for wanting to have a good relationship with people like Elon Musk and all these crazy people so that they don't cause wars. Like, it blows my mind, like the level of inconsistency with how people believe what they believe. It absolutely blows my mind. But that's just how it is in America. Everyone knows that the media, you can't trust them except when it comes to Trump. Everyone knows that the media will do everything they can to take down anyone that disagree with them, except when it comes to Trump. So we're not open to forming our own opinions about these people. We just listen to what someone tells us about these people, and that to me, it's wild. I can't live my life that way because I've dealt with that stuff, and I dealt with that stuff in elementary school of people telling me who to be friends with if I want to fit in with the popular crowd. I don't want to be part of the it crew. I don't want to be part of none of that ish. That's that type of dumb stuff that Diddy be getting into, and I know there's more people than Diddy that are in that stuff. Oh, you want to be part of the go along, get along? Well, you have to do this. You have to do that. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I rock with people that rock with me. I rock with people that are going in the direction I'm going in. I rock with people that respect me, and I treat them with respect. I rock with people that are able to come to me on an intellectual basis and have intellectual conversations. I don't care about color. I don't care about none of that stuff. Don't try to force me to fit into a specific box, and then come to me from a place of disingenuousness. I don't even know that's even a word. But if you're gonna talk to me and you're gonna tell me that I shouldn't go with Trump, come to me from a perspective of being educated on everything related to Trump. All right. If I say I can't support Kamala Harris, I'm going to give you the reasons why. And it's because I've watched everything she said. I listened to every debate. I've watched the full debate. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, well, I'm too busy. But you're forming opinions on something without getting the full context of any of it. We're in 2024. There's AI. People are clipping people up and saying, hey, this person said this, and that's not even true. Like, I feel like I'm repeating myself with all of this, but I feel like it has to be said, and people need to be reminded. All right? You can't form an opinion of someone based on someone else's opinion or experience. I'm sorry. You just you can't. All right? You can't tell me that because you have a bad relationship with this person that I should therefore have a bad relationship with that person. I don't believe in that. All right. What happens between you and that person is you and that person. All right. We're cool. I'm cool with them. Leave it at that. Don't try to force me to stop being friends with someone because you don't want to be friends with them. That's not the way the world works. That's not the way my world works. And that's not the way I choose to operate. All right. So if anyone wants to have a conversation about why I shouldn't support Trump, at least come from a perspective of you watched everything in its full context. At least come from a perspective of, rather than watching clips on CNN and MSNBC, you saw he said something, you went and found the original video, however long it was, and you watched the entire thing. If you're not doing that, then we can have a conversation. All right? Be safe. Regardless of who you vote for, deal with the outcomes. I don't know. All right. I love you guys.